So I was giving a random real estate agent a ration of shit today, and one of my friends popped in. He's like, "Why you always go to the extremes, bro? Why you always gotta be so extreme, right?" That's because I'm an extreme guy, and being an extreme guy gives one an extreme perspective, right? An extremely wide perspective. How many people do any of you know who see this message? How many people do you know personally that have hitchhiked across the country twice in the last 3 years since coronavirus? How many people do you know personally who have engaged the political system directly in an effort to make changes? How many people do you know personally that spent in 5 years, spent only 13 months not on a war machine, creating propaganda and maintaining weapon systems, right? You don't know very many people who do that. How many people do you know that are studied to the degree that I'm studied in sociology, psychology, small group communication? You don't know those people. How many people do you know personally who have spent years doing permaculture and agriculture and systems work, who have worked alongside people engaged directly with bio and neurohacking? How many people do you know directly who are carrying around in their back pocket a chemical formula for leonization? Which, if you don't know, leonization is, how to put this, life-extending technology, right? And the formula, by the way, is disgusting. But there's a hope that it can be synthesized, and that way the people who are engaged in some very real terrible acts in the world won't have an excuse to harvest adrenalized blood from children anymore, right? Like, how many people do you know doing shit like this, right? You don't know any. And that's why I have an extreme perspective, right? Because I'm an extreme person, right? And we have extreme problems. And our extreme problems are Eastern Bloc economics, right? Everyone wants to talk about politics like they matter, or money like it matters, right? But it doesn't matter, right? What matters is Eastern Bloc economics, what some people would call socialism or communism, right? And I want to explain how they work. I'm trying to be very detailed, right? It's like this. When men are looking for a mate, right, they go into a period of production and innovation, right, to create the resources necessary to attract said mate, right? However, if you artificially segregate the sexes, this drives the male populace into increased innovation and increased industrialization to create the technologies and everything we have, and my ability to talk to you right now long range, right? And we have reached a place because of these systems that we're in now, because of these systems, but they're no longer necessary in reality, and they have to. It has to be stopped, right? Because what you people don't understand is the people who would normally do these things, the priests and the pimps and the politicians, they have all come together to give this job to technology. And technology has been very successful in these efforts, right? So successful that populations around the world are collapsing, right? And they're collapsing because of the following reasons. Females, when given access to abortion, abort daughters at a rate of 2.5 to 1 of males, right? And this is trackable by overlaying the number of abortions in any given urban area with the ratio of boys to girls in graduating high school classes in the same urban area over time, right? And when you do that study, you will see that the curve matches, right? Because women are aborting their daughters much more than their sons. The Democrats were apparently so for women's rights, although really it's all Fugazi, but the real situation is abortion is the worst thing a woman can do to sustain women's rights, because the process of abortion, inherent in the process of abortion, is the elimination of the female sex, at a rate higher than the male sex because of subconscious triggers, because of increased estrogen in the woman's brain, right? On top of that, when you have a boy or a girl, this is based off external stimuli. There are subconscious mechanisms that select for sex at birth based off the environmental stimuli, right? High testosterone means that the father is, how do I put this, that the woman will likely produce daughters. There's high testosterone in her presence. This is why high testosterone in men almost always have daughters. If you look at Navy SEALs and Marines, they all got girls. Why do they all have girls, right? Why do they have such a prevalence to have female children? It's because of the high testosterone, right? Now, women in mass are now on birth control, which is an artificial increase in estrogen. And so when they do get pregnant, even after coming off the birth control, because of the number of women on birth control in general in the environment, the subconscious mechanisms that select for sex on conception right now are selecting for males instead of females. So if you go into certain urban populaces, into the hospitals and the natal rooms, and you start doing head counts on the children, you will see there are much more male infants than female infants. In some places, the ratio is as nearly is like 10 to 1. It's so bad. Like Portland is a good example, right? Now, I don't understand. Like, I'm just confused, right? When I'm yelling at people and and tearing shit apart online and creating chaos in my confusion, it's just because I'm confused, right? I'm trying to, what trauma do I need to create to wake you guys up, to understand what type of situation that is, right? In 20 years, if there's 10 men for every one girl being born right now, what's that look like in 20 years, right? It looks like a fucking Holocaust. It looks like Mao's Great Leap Forward, right? And every day that these systems of sexual segregation and the digital inflation of currency continue pushes us towards that Holocaust. If we were to shut the power down in the cities right now and everyone came flooding out of their apartments, we might have a 60s. We might have another great awakening, right? But you lizard-brained motherfuckers are not capable of thought. You're not. And because you're incapable of thought and you're only capable of greed and getting yours and then just sitting on it and being like, I got mine now, I don't have to worry about anything. We as a society are going to be in a lot of trouble. And we're going to be in the most trouble when me and men like me are literally too old to do anything about it except become victims to it, right? So I'm trying to effect change now while I'm young enough where I won't just become a victim of the society that you fucking lizard brains are creating, right? That's why I'm so extreme, right? Because extreme action is called for, right? The number of observable environmental things happening that you motherfuckers remain ignorant of is astounding. It is astounding that you would dare to criticize me, the one person paying attention, right? Here's something you might not have noticed or thought about that is clearly visible in your reality. When you pour water on the ground, it evaporates, and that evaporation becomes a cloud, and that cloud becomes rain. When you put that same bottle of water on a shelf, it takes much longer for that to happen, right? You're removing that water from the system of percolation. Now, evaporation in the air, as the water is evaporating, also creates a windbreak against the sunder bands. And I know you retards don't know what the sunder bands are, but it's the winds that blow across the world, right? So moisture in the air slows this wind speed, right? So as more water goes in the bottles and sits on shelves, you get drier climate and faster wind speeds, right? Now, most of you, if you're in my hometown, live in forests. Can you understand how drier climates and higher wind speeds are not good for people who live in the woods, right? On top of that, because of the mechanisms of sexual segregation, which I just went over, even though the industry to bottle water is increasing, there's less people consuming it, so more and more of it goes on shelves, right? And so this situation it's a ticking time bomb. Well, we might have a Holocaust in 20 years, but you are all definitely going to get burned out of house and home, like the Paradise Fire, in 5 years if you don't wake the fuck up, And that's just reality, right? That's just reality. And so the fact that I may seem extreme, it really just comes from my frustration and my confusion, right? I am confused, given all these observable factors, why the townspeople and the sheriffs and the people who are going to be most affected by these horrors, whose children will be most affected by these horrors, I'm just confused. I'm confused that you have not gone into your county buildings and pulled the politicians out and put bullets in their heads. I am confused that every day is not a firefight with the police, who continue to behave as a Gestapo on behalf of the institutions that are literally extinguishing human life. I'm confused, right? And that confusion and irritation, you guys seem to think is me being extreme. No, it's me being aware, right, of the real problems that you all refuse to look at. And that any of you would think to denigrate my efforts, or slander my mind, or take for granted my experiences and knowledge, while you laze around your tiny world, only occasionally leaving it to go on vacations to certain tourist attractions. And you believe your knowledge is somehow, your opinion is somehow valid or relevant, or your criticisms are welcome. They're not, right? You guys, you're accomplices to a horse show. And that horse show is going to burn down one of my favorite places on earth. That horse show is going to reduce the next generation into just animals, and after that, thrust them into a war of genocidal proportions, because this situation is not being dealt with now. And every year it is not dealt with, and is pushed back another year. And you retards continue to believe that the old systems of control are working as normal. Well, that's another 100,000 people that end up in mass graves. And that's why I have no patience for you motherfuckers, right? That's why I'm so extreme. So yeah, maybe I hope this reaches somebody, but I really doubt it will, right? I really doubt it will. So the only thing I can do is continue on this path of organizing myself in a way where, as the society continues to shake and continues to collapse, I have the ability to take any life at will at any given time and maintain my own safety while doing so. Because that's the only thing that's going to keep me secure, and then leveraging those skills to eliminate those most responsible for what we're heading into. Because the amount of human existential misery that is being caused by the ignorance that is being manufactured by these supposed leaders of society, even at our local board supervisor level, as they engage in some of the most atrocious acts of hedonism it has ever been my misfortune to observe, is ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. And you fucking monkeys, you gotta really figure it out, right? Because the clock's ticking, right? And I'm doing everything I can to demonstrate my capabilities to you. Without your help, without your assistance, with nothing but your denigration. And you still can't see the fucking... You still can't see the fucking writing on the wall. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? When did you all become so fucking retarded